Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, March 6th. I'm CJ LeMaster, your lead investigative reporter and your host for the WLBT Plus Digital News Desk Update. Hope you're doing well today. We got a lot of news to get to. We are live streaming right now on our OTT platforms and also on our Facebook and YouTube live streams as well. First off, a $265 million road bill is dead, leaving a major interstate widening project in Madison without funding, specifically in Madison County, I should say. Senate Bill 2480 would have spent $265 million to widen I-55 from 4 to 6 lanes between the Madison and Gluckstadt exits. It also adds ramps to the new Reunion Parkway Bridge. The Senate passed it unanimously in February, but the House double referred it to two committees, and it never got a vote in either one. House Speaker Jason White had told media soon after that the double referral didn't mean the bill would die.
The reason the legislature set up this highway capacity fund was to prevent from happening exactly what happened. We wanted to take the politics out of the process, and we wanted to rely on the experts at the Mississippi Department of Transportation and our transportation commissioners to tell us the most needy projects in Mississippi. And I still, to this moment, don't know what the delay is. This is what we feared would happen, and why we set up the capacity fund is to take the politics out of it.
That's Senator Walter Michel. He says funding could still come through a projects bill before the session ends in 3 weeks. Days after announcing it had been approved, it appears more hurdles remain before a major flood control project can be implemented on the Pearl River. Now, last week, leaders gathered along the river in Highway 80, I should say, to announce the U.S. Assistant Secretary of the Army had signed off on the project, meaning construction could move forward. But on Thursday, an official with the Rankin-Hines Pearl River Flood and Damage Control District says there are still a few more steps before the secretary issues his final record of decision. Keith Turner, the attorney for the Rankin-Hines Flood Control District, says the project will be completed in phases, with several agreements still needed with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. No timeline has been set. Turner says the project will be worth the effort, offering protection for homes, businesses, and property.
We're reducing flooding dramatically. I mean, we're going to have to redraw the floodplain. 100-year floodplain is going to be different now because of that. So some folks that are in the 100-year floodplain are going to be coming out. So, I mean, we're going to be protecting property that in the past would flood like several times.
Ultimately, a record of decision from the Assistant Secretary will be required to move forward, and construction will depend on when funding becomes available. Journalists, educators, and so many others are remembering the life and career of Dr. Elaine Hayes Anthony, who died yesterday in Jackson. She was a pioneer in Jackson television news and helped pave the way for hundreds of communication students at Jackson State and Belhaven universities. Many of the former students say she encouraged and inspired them to reach their goals. Now, they say she was a tireless advocate who made sure they had everything they needed to succeed. Her influence, though, went far beyond the classroom. Former students credit her with helping them land their first jobs right out of college. They say they will always cherish the advice and lessons Dr. Anthony shared.
To always be myself, never let anyone stop me, use my voice, and to go after what I love. This is something that I really wanted to do. She inspired me to stay within this field, actually, and to do my very best and to leave a great legacy.
The Journalism and Media Studies Department is another child. It's an extension of her. And I know that we would not be here, without the vision that she carried forward. And so if you didn't know her, then you missed a lot. You missed a schooling and education. Just being around her was an opportunity to grow and to learn.
Dr. Anthony was still leading the JSU Communication Department prior to her death and was working on ways to integrate AI into the program. Governor Tate Reeves called her a trailblazer, a dedicated educator, and a tremendous public servant. Congressman Benny Thompson said the lives she touched, the doors she opened, and the paths she cleared will continue to echo through the generations she inspired. And Senator Roger Wicker added that Mississippi has lost a leader and pioneer. Elaine's legacy of kindness, servant leadership, and community service will impact generations to come. Well, state lawmakers are making a play to attract and keep standout college athletes, and they are using NIL to do it. Now, college athletes are cashing some pretty big checks thanks to name, image, and likeness or NIL deals. Some of that money has to go back to the state through taxes, but that may not be the case for long. The Mississippi House recently passed a bill making NIL earnings completely exempt from state income tax. Now, supporters believe this could attract more high-ranking athletes to Mississippi over states that don't have this kind of legislation, and keep us competitive with states like Arkansas that passed a similar bill last year, or Florida and Tennessee that don't have income tax. Ole Miss professor Brennan Berg studies NIL policies and says just as much as you focus on staying ahead, you should also focus on not falling behind.
Yeah, there might be some short-term benefits from a competitive standpoint, but really in the long term, it's about avoiding a competitive disadvantage. And so, in some of the research I've led, we've distinguished between there's a difference between gaining a competitive advantage versus avoiding a competitive disadvantage. They're not synonymous.
Now, Berg says statistically, these college NIL deals could be the most money some of these athletes see in their athletic careers. Mississippi's already set to remove its income tax in the coming years, but this bill would allow student athletes to reap the benefits first. There is some pushback, though. On this bill, some lawmakers are asking why a college quarterback should get a tax break while a teacher or a student working at a coffee shop still has to pay up. The bill still has to pass through the Senate and be signed by the governor before it can become law. Well, we have a couple of folks saying hi on this Friday. Britt saying happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for that, Britt. Hope you're doing well. And Sheikah Hampton, the whole bunch of emojis. Thank you, Sheikah. We've missed that. That's a great way to brighten our day, and we appreciate you. Hope you're doing well and have some fun plans for the weekend. We want to leave you with a story that we ran last night. It's an investigation, a year in the making, something that I've been working on for a while. We uncovered a major breakdown in Vicksburg that left more than 120 criminal cases in limbo, some for years, because of police inaction. City officials only acknowledged the issue after three on your side started asking questions. This investigation shows what police failed to do, how some defendants remained free to commit new crimes, and why families are still waiting for justice.
He was a great kid, respectable kid. He loved playing football. That was my only son. I miss my son.
The family of Carleon C.J. Woodland wants you to know who he was, not just how he died.
He was a good son. I miss him so much.
13 years old, full of life, until January 30th, 2023, when a bullet from a drive-by shooting ended all of it.
I had a knock at my door and come on, get up. Your son, CJ, has been shot. And I'm like, oh my God.
Within days, Vicksburg police made 3 arrests. 2 of the suspects were just 16, Demetrius Cormier and Philip Moore Jr. But it would take 2.5 years for a grand jury to indict them. 2.5 years of birthdays CJ would never have.
I'm frustrated because it shouldn't have taken this long. My grandson was just 13. He had his whole life ahead of him.
For a while, CJ's grandmother, Thelma Rankin, heard the young suspects had lawyers and they were trying to work out a deal. But a 3 on Your Side investigation reveals those plea talks weren't to blame for the delays in CJ's case. The real reason? Vicksburg police took more than 2 years to turn that case file over to prosecutors. And CJ's case wasn't the only one. Our investigation found at least 121 felony cases where the Vicksburg Police Department failed to send the full case file to the DA.
But I asked every time I went up there, I would ask them, they'll tell me had nothing changed and the police department hadn't sent the files over to them, so it wasn't nothing they can do. That's what they was telling me.
Does that make you less likely that you want to trust the police department's going to do its job?
I'm telling you, no, it just kind of puts you on edge.
Without that file, the prosecutors couldn't move forward. CJ's family was stuck waiting.
We are absolutely dependent on the law enforcement agencies to provide us the evidence we need to get the convictions.
3 on Your Side obtained emails District Attorney Ricky Smith sent to VPD, reminding them of case files that still hadn't been turned over. At that point, CJ's family had been waiting over a year for justice.
We requested case files from VPD probably a number of times and never received that. And it just got to a point where we weren't going to maintain an open case file on that case anymore without receiving the information from the Vicksburg Police Department. So we went on and dismissed it.
Most were drug-related felonies that ended up being dropped, but Three on Your Side uncovered more than a dozen cases, some involving alleged violent acts where it took 18 months or longer to indict because of VPD's delay. And in a handful of those, the suspects allegedly committed more violent crimes while they were waiting to be indicted. When something like that happens, do you feel some degree of responsibility in that case?
Absolutely. It's all of our responsibilities. Nobody's exempt from responsibility when we don't prosecute somebody that needs to be prosecuted. Maybe we should have, maybe we should have pushed a little bit harder to get the case filed.
The DA admits his office could have done more. But what about Vicksburg Police? Why did VPD fail to send CJ's case and at least 120 others? Records from the DA's office show this practice had been going on since at least 2020 during Mayor and Police Commissioner George Flagg's term. The police chief during most of that time, Penny Jones. Jones declined multiple requests for comment. Flags never responded. 3 months ago, we began contacting the current mayor, Willis Thompson, and the city's new police chief, Larry Burns. But the two men told very different stories. Chief Burns said in a statement that some cases were given to the DA, but the DA's office didn't always record that. He blamed external factors like the crime lab and left out whether his department contributed to any delays. But Mayor Thompson said more than 70 cases were never submitted, and he blamed internal failures within the police department. Why the disconnect between what his department was saying and what your office has put out? I didn't expect to see that, I guess.
Well, I don't see it as a big difference. What I put out was in line with information I received directly from the DA's office.
Thompson says he's taking responsibility for the failures, even though they started under the previous administration.
It's new administration. This is one of the potential problems or issues that's going on. First thing, let's verify it. And if it's true, admit it.
The chief was more saying, well, some of this is on the DA. Some of this is on the crime lab. This is not our responsibility. But then your statement comes out and your office takes full responsibility.
Well, I think we have to because, again, even though this started prior, it's our issue now.
Thompson says some of those cases were delayed by factors like uncooperative witnesses and now agrees with the chief regarding the state crime lab issue. But he says the core problem was internal. Staff turnover, poor communication with prosecutors, and no system to track case files. Three on Your Side wanted to ask Chief Burns about this too. Initially, he agreed to an on-camera interview, then canceled when he learned it would be on camera. His assistant then told our managers he would do an interview, but only if a different reporter asked the questions. We declined. In the meantime, Thompson says they're working to correct these delays.
We're still investigating this along with other things. We're still evaluating staff. We're still evaluating employees. There are going to be a lot of things change.
Do you think there could be some more administrative staffing shakeups at VPD from this?
There's going to be some more in the city of Vicksburg, period.
Meanwhile, CJ's family continues to wait for a resolution. The trial for her son's alleged killers begins in June.
I just want justice for my son, and we really need that. It will help so much. I mean, because he didn't deserve this.
Now, Three on Your Side first requested information on these missing case files a year ago while CJ's family was still waiting for an indictment. But District Attorney Ricky Smith did not release the full records until after Vicksburg's mayoral election when George Flaggs had already lost. Smith told us he delayed releasing those documents because he did not want to influence the outcome of the race. And we have more details on this story, including some revelations we weren't able to actually fit in the on-air version of this, like the fact that the former police chief that a lot of this happened under is still with the police department. She's no longer the chief, but she still works there. She's the fourth highest paid in that department. All of that right now can be found on WLBT.com. You go there and you will see on our Investigates tab up here, the first story, of course, left in limbo. Not only do we have those extra details, we have those cases we mentioned, those specific cases that took at least 18 months for indictments because of the delays. Excuse me. And also the full statement from VPD that they sent us, as well as more information on the lack of transparency that we got when we were trying to get the interview with the chief. Some things, some inconsistencies and other things there that happened. And of course, that story is there, and we have much more available. We appreciate all of you joining us today. A couple of folks during the story chiming in. Sheikah Hampton saying, my condolences go out to the family. And Britt, similar. My thoughts and prayers are with her family. It's just sad how the system works. Well, it's not how the system is supposed to work. And, one of the most frustrating things about this story is that we really didn't get answers. We got some cases, this happens, but we really didn't get the specifics that we were hoping to get. And I had hoped that we could get some of that from talking to the chief and getting that information. Even though none of this happened under the new chief's watch, that's all the more reason for him to just come out and say, hey, this is what happened. We didn't know this was happening. We are investigating the scope of it. And, we are going to do our best to correct it moving forward. The chief didn't tell us that on camera, didn't sit down with us. The mayor did. The mayor, we appreciate him taking time to talk with us. And hopefully this story and the efforts that this new administration is making will make a difference in making sure that this doesn't happen anymore in Warren County. So if you have any other questions about this, please feel free to chime in, or you can email me. If you have any of your own experiences, if you know somebody whose case file was delayed in Vicksburg, let us know. We certainly will follow up with additional cases. This is not the first story, I don't think, that we will be doing on these kinds of issues. That's all the time we have for today, though. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Our First Alert Weather Team will be in here at 2:30 to give you an update on what to expect this week and the week ahead. And of course, for everyone here at WLBT News, I'm CJ LeMaster, your lead investigative reporter and your host for the Digital News Desk update on WLBT Plus each and every weekday at 1 p.m. Also, our early evening newscasts start at 4 o'clock on air and our OTT platform. So please tune in to that to see the latest news of the day. Appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful weekend and try and stay dry out there.